as Cheryl's coming up, to talk about hands and caring for your hands and feet, I am driven to tell you this story about hair product. My mother, when I was about 11 or 12, read in Hints from Heloise. Anybody had a mother who read Heloise? My mother read in Heloise that if you rinse your hair in Jell-O, it would give it more body. And so she was very excited on a Friday afternoon to try this on me, Friday evening, but she couldn't remember whether you were supposed to rinse it out or leave it in. Well, she didn't want to waste a good box of lime Jell-O, so she left it in. And so set my hair because, that was the era. We slept on big curlers all night. I still sleep on my face because of having those curlers, and I was growing up. And so by morning, I can just tell you that we had a very hard time getting the curlers out of my hair. And my brother and my mother were laughing so hard because they took the curlers out and it would just go bong right back like this. And they could not comb it out. And my brother, who was like 17, 18 at the time, and my mother were on both sides laughing so hard they had tears running down their cheeks. I also had tears running down my cheeks for a totally different reason, because it was Sabbath morning and I couldn't wash it, until later. And we didn't have a hairdryer in those days, and so I had to wear. It had a lot of body. It worked. It had a lot of body for church that day. Anyway, transitioning over to Cheryl. She is a technician. Is that the correct term? Nail tech.
Technician. Uh-huh.
Working on hands and feet. So she has some counsel for us about caring for our hands and feet.
All righty. Well, good morning, everybody.
Good morning, Cheryl.
So, you might be saying to yourself, well, I don't necessarily want to do my nails. I just like them plain. Well, they still need to be groomed. Hands and feet need to be groomed. This is weird. I can't see anybody out there. So let's start with the basic manicure. If you're wanting to do your nails at home, take care of your hands and feet at home. For a manicure, you need a file, a soft buffer, a cuticle pusher, and an orange wood stick. You want to start by removing some length. So if you have some length, you want to take that down. A lot of people just clip their nails. Clipping the nails can actually shatter the nail and cause cracks and splits in the nail. So it's best to if you have a little bit of length, just take it off with a file, like a medium file. The file that we got in our kits is a really good file. It has a coarse side and a smooth side. So depending on if you have a thick nail or a thin nail, you want to determine how coarse you want to use. You don't want to tear a little thin nail with too coarse of a file. Okay. Then you want to soften that edge with a soft buffer. You want to leave as smooth an edge as you can, not have a raggedy edge. Most of the time, basic emery boards are a really coarse file. They're probably one of the worst files you can use. A board file is a lot kinder, and you want to always use as soft of a file as you can get away with to do the job you want. So you want to smooth up the edges and then take a little cuticle stick and go under the edge a little bit, just gently, to get the frayed edge out. When we file on our nails, they fray under, and the minute you wash them, that little frayed edge will come out, and you'll have little thin edges of filed nails sticking out around the edges. So you just want to gently buff that off. And then remove the cuticle. You want to just use something gentle. Try not to push too hard on the cuticle. This has a softer end and a firm end. If you push too hard, you can end up with those little white marks across your nail. Sometimes people think they're calcium deposits. They're actually little bruises on the nail. And they will grow off, and they're harmless, but if you're wanting to wear clear or sheer color, they'll show through. So try not to bruise your nail. Let's see. And then you're ready to polish. You usually, if you've used any kind of a cream to soften your cuticle, you want to rinse that off. If there's any little frayed edges that come out when you rinse your nails, buff those off, then you're ready to polish. You want to do base coat, color, and top coat. Your base coat is really important. It helps your polish adhere. If you just slam on a coat of polish, it's not going to last you more than a couple of days, if at the most. Your top coat will help seal your polish so that it lasts a lot longer. And then I always recommend my clients go home and top coat again that night and the next night and then every couple of nights. That gives you a good base of clear coats over the top to keep them sealed around the edges and keep the edges of your color from wearing. A cuticle stick comes in really handy for cleaning up the edges around the polish. If you don't clean up those edges properly, you will have your product start to lift off the skin. And the minute it starts to lift off the skin, then it's started to chip around the edges. So you don't want anything hanging up around the skin. That will start your nail polish peeling. Alrighty. Manicure's done with that. Feet are so important. Sometimes I have people that say, oh, well, it's getting to be fall, and I'm in shoes now, so I'm good. Those toes and feet still need to be groomed, whether you're in shoes or not. You will need, for a basic pedicure, you'll need a good pair of toenail clippers, a foot file for calloused areas. I like a diamond file for filing on toenails. Once you've clipped them, it's important to file them so you don't have little raggedy, jaggedy edges that snag on your stockings, snag on your sheets, snag on your husband. They don't like that. Diamond file gives you a good finished edge, and it allows you to get under the little corners. You always want to make sure you soften those little corners. The biggest thing I find that people, when they're clipping their own toenails, they might not get all the way down into the side of the nail. If you clip, you want to make sure that if there's a little bit of toenail under the skin, you want to clip it all the way down. Otherwise, you leave a jagged edge, and that can cause an ingrown corner. So always soften those corners up with a file that you can get in there with. A board file is a good file, but it doesn't allow you to get into those little corners. So the diamond file is really nice for that. And then you want to clean up the cuticles. Pushing the cuticles back, and you want to just gently remove that skin that is connected to the nail itself. It'll leave little pieces of dead skin on the nail, and you might even need to take a soft buffer and buff that off so that your polish up next to the cuticle is nice and soft and smooth. There again, you want to clean up the edges once you want a base coat, color 2 coats, and top coat, and clean up those edges with a cuticle stick, an orange wood stick. Oh, forgot the toe separators. Toe separators are wonderful for doing pedicures. These keep our little digits away from each other. Toe discipline. Finishing up with cuticle oil is a must. Cuticle oil for hands and feet is amazing. It rehydrates not only your cuticles, but the nails underneath. You can actually use cuticle oil once you've polished, and it will get into the pores of the nail around the cuticle and actually finger its way under whatever product you have on, whether it's artificial nails or natural nails with polish. It will finger its way through the pores of the nail and keep your natural nail hydrated and flexible and prevent a lot of dryness and splitting and peeling. The pumice bar is an amazing thing for in the shower. You can add soap to this and scrub down those heels that get really callousy. These will last a long time, and it takes off a lot more skin when you're in the shower. and those dry, cracky heels. One thing that I missed during the pedicure, you want to use a good foot file. A foot file usually has a coarse side and a softer side, so you want to start with your coarse side and get as much of that skin off as you can. Heels will get dry and cracky if they're allowed to have that dry skin built up. So the ladies that I see that have cracks in their heels, it's from allowing dry skin to build up. So once you've removed that dry skin, it will stop cracking. Sometimes you have to remove it in stages. If you remove it all at once, you can make your heels really sore around the perimeter. I found that out the hard way. I decided one day I was going to have the softest heels in town. I sat on the edge of the bed that night and I scrubbed and I scrubbed and I scrubbed. And I got up the next morning and I almost fell down. They burned around the perimeter. I could hardly stand up. So I learned not to do that to other people. If you desire to go have a salon service, there were a couple of things that I thought were important to mention. Things to look for, things to look out for. You want to make sure that you are finding a licensed nail tech. A lot of our really busy high volume salons these days, it's not uncommon to have unlicensed nail techs. The word I've heard from State Board and State Board inspectors is that the salon owners will call each other, ask them to, you call somebody, you call State Board, tell them you lost your license and get a duplicate. I'll call State Board, tell them I lost my license and get a duplicate, and then they trade. So anytime you go into a salon, my best recommendation would be go ahead of time. Go before you need that service and check it out. Don't go when you're needing a pedicure right now and then you maybe don't like what you're seeing, but you feel bound to, gosh, I need this service right now. I need to get this done. Go check out the place. Kind of sit and watch, look, and see what's going on. Check and see if the nail techs are licensed. If there's a license on the wall that says duplicate, you might want to be wary. It's usually stamped across the middle, duplicate. The state inspector told me that in salons that are usually doing things properly, you don't see duplicates. Your license stays on the wall in a framed little thing. It's really hard to lose the license. So.
She was telling me the reason why that's so important is because if they're not doing the sanitation right, you can pick up fungus.
Oh gosh,
and
yes.
that's really easy to get and really hard to get rid of. And so
you can spend one pedicure getting a fungus and a year or two trying to get rid of it. It's an easy thing to contract. The thing that I hear most complaint from people that come in that have been to the high volume, really busy salons is that they'll say, well, I watched her spray it down and wipe it, and then she called me over. Well, that doesn't get it at all. What you want to see is them scrub it down and then refill it with water and put either a high-grade disinfectant or a bleach in there and let it run into the pipes and then sit and abandon that station for 5 or 10 minutes and let that do its thing. If there's foot fungus and stuff from the lady before you or the man before you and that's flushed back into the pipes, it's just sitting there lurking, waiting for you. And it will flush out into your foot bath and you can contract that in one pedicure. So yeah, you want to watch for that, how they clean it and make sure they leave a disinfectant in there for a short time. The other thing I'm hearing lately is that on manicures and pedicures, using electric sanders on a natural nail manicure or a shellac manicure is a huge no-no. It's not necessary. It shouldn't be involved in that service. Buffing the surface with an electric file should not be done during those services. They might use a hand buffer to just gently remove a little bit of dead cuticle skin that's attached to the nail, but other than that, there shouldn't be any harsh filing on the nail. And during a shellac manicure, which is the gel manicure that stays on about 2 weeks, they shouldn't soak it in a bowl of acetone when they're removing it. The nail should be wrapped individually and soaked for a short time, not 30 minutes in a bowl of acetone. That's over-processing the nail in a chemical. Anything I've skipped?
I appreciate that. I think that's good information. So thank you very much.
You're welcome.
And you have some stuff here. Tell me about what you've got over here. It's nice to be able to see the items. You know, one of the things that people suggest sometimes is to like go to a beauty supply place and just look to see what kinds of things are there.
Right.
So you had something in this bag. Tell us what you've got going on.
In here?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so these are the items that I've shown you, the pedicure file. I'm not sure what else you want me to tell you about these things. Oh, I do have right here. I have some gift bags that I'd like to give out with, and I'm going to put this one back together, and it won't have a little bow tie on it, but I'll give this one away as well.
Who has not ever done their hands and feet? Well, who really needs help with your hands and feet? So, Susie, would you just hand these out? Because she has put these little gift bags together. There are 5 of them. And so, again, you're being rewarded for showing up on Sunday morning at 8 o'clock.
And this one doesn't have a bow
This one
anymore
doesn't
because
have
we
a
use
bow.
that to demonstrate, but
Okay?
it's still the same
so
stuff.
whoever's raising their hand, just go all around. And Susie, if you'll make sure that you get clear over here, too, and just kind of whatever across the room.
And then there's also a gift certificate in there.
Oh, and there's also a gift certificate, Susie. There's a gift certificate in there, and that's to get a pedicure done by her. Again, if you have to live in the Portland area or be willing to travel to the Portland area.
So I'm actually in Newburgh.
Oh, I'm sorry. So Newburgh area. All right. Good. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
I got to tell you a little story about taking care of my hands. When I was, again, young, like, I don't know, 12 or 13, I have a lot of trouble with hangnails. And so I read that if you put Vaseline around your fingernails and then wear gloves overnight, that in the morning they'll be really soft and nice. So I thought that's a good idea. Maybe it was another thing from Heloise, I don't know. But yeah. So the thing was that in the middle of the night I woke up and there was this gloved hand in front of me. And when I jumped, the hand jumped, which made me jump even more. So anyway, that was my little experience with nail care.